There's things that I've been through that I don't want to see other people go through. I didn't really have a lot of mentorship or guidance in my life. Boxing, the gym, kept me off the streets just enough. But the other life, money, power, respect, women, seemed more appealing to me. And then when Jesus entered into my life, everything changed. I grew up in a less than stable environment. My dad had other kids, but he settled down with my mother. He was a hard worker, but he hung around people that did gangster stuff, sold drugs, violence, took money, took things. There's a level of innocence in kids' lives. You don't expose them to things until a certain age. There was none of that for me. There was no filter, there was no PG-13. I don't remember not seeing stuff that I shouldn't see. 8 years old, I started boxing. There was a gym in the basement of my house, had a boxing bag, speed bag, and weights. And me and my dad would hit it a few times a week. My parents, they split. One day we're sitting down and he's like, hey man, there's this gym that opened up. Would you think about fighting or training or whatever? And I was like, do you want me to fight? He was like, yeah, I'd like you to fight. I was like, well then I'll fight then. I did it for my dad because it made him proud and I could feel, his approval. That's how boxing entered into my life. Where I was living at, the people that were there, they were getting money and I wanted to do what they want to do. The whole game is like, how can I use this person or this situation, manipulating people, hurting people to get yourself advanced and ultimately get money. That's the end game of it all. That life was just appealing to me. So I was 13 years old selling crack. I would go into situations, things I should have never lived through, like car accidents, guns put in my chest, guns not going off. In situations where I'm in fights, where I'm getting jumped and somebody comes and helps me, saves my life. I was arrested for multiple aggravated assaults, possessions, domestics. Many times I sat in the county jail. There was nobody to tell me the right thing to do in life. I was figuring out as I go. I got 4 kids at a young age. My son's born, and they tell me that he's gonna die. He's probably not gonna make it through the night. Worst day of my life. And I went down to gift shop, bought a little book, a square book that said faith on it. It's like you get to that level of desperation, it's the only thing you could turn to. I sit next to my son in the bed, all these one-day devotionals, but I read the whole thing, right? I read the whole thing, and by the end, I'm done with this little book. I look at the book, then I look at my situation. I look at the book, look at my situation, then I look up and I'm just like, this don't add up. Doing everything I knew how to do to be a dad, provider, 12-hour days, coaching my daughter's travel softball team, was taking my son who just got out of the hospital for a wagon ride. And a guy who owes me money, drunk with a dog, comes on my property. He was like, I'm gonna get you a TV. I said, I don't want your TV, man. He was like, you know what, then you ain't getting nothing. He put his finger right here on my shoulder. As he hit me here, I hit him right hook, left hook, boom. He goes to the ground, hits his head off the ground. Took my son for his wagon ride, came back. He was still laying there. I woke him up, stood him up. He's on a breathing machine for 2 weeks. I'm facing serious charges and I'm sitting in jail. And I was like, okay, I'm not in control. I get out of jail, house arrest. I have a dream about opening a gym. Another guy has the same dream that I had the same night, a guy I hadn't seen in over a year. And we were gonna train fighters, and that was gonna be it, right? I was gonna do it, for me, to make money, to do this boxing thing. I'm working the gym, I'm on my work release thing, and a guy comes up. I knew him before that because he brought his kids to the gym, but I didn't know what he was. So he was like, hey man, would you like to have a conversation after work? I said, at this point, it's not gonna hurt to talk to a priest, a deacon. I don't even know what you are, but it ain't gonna hurt me. We go out onto the roof and I tell him a little bit about what's going on in my life. And what he does is what nobody ever told me before. He told me who Jesus was. It was a quick 5-minute thing of how sin entered the world, why our lives go a certain way, but God had sent his son to die for us so that we could have life. And when he told me that, everything made sense. It was in a moment, a 180, right? I completely turned and I was like, that is what I'm supposed to do. It was like a Rolodex flipping in my mind, where it's like all the trauma, all the things that I've seen, right? I felt in that moment, something spoke to me. Everything that you went through was so that I could use you to impact other people's lives from that place. And I kept on doing boxing, but I wanted to do ministry. I was trying to figure out how does that work? And then I had another guy come into my life, Brother Dan. Through impartation, he gave me the love for the Word of God. And we fasted and we prayed. My first fast was a 21-day fast, where the whole point was to submit my flesh. And then everything started changing. It started to become about more than boxing. Once I got saved, I could tell boxing isn't what they needed. They needed Jesus. I know how bad I needed a mentor. So that is the passion that I have to mentor and use whatever I have to help others. It was 2023 and it was coming into January, and I had some opportunities coming to me. And I'm praying that, Lord, you show me where you want to go. I'm not picking none of these places. I'm waiting for you to show me. So the 19th day of my fast, the president from the Swickley Community Center, he calls me. And he's like, hey, Jared, we researched your efforts in the community, and we'd like to have a conversation with you about taking this place over, running program. And I'm like, I just want to let you all know, if Jesus is going to be a problem, then we ain't got nothing to talk about. I don't want to waste nobody's time. I was like, did I say that? Could have blew my whole opportunity. I set a goal to have 1,000 new people in there through youth programming, through boxing, bringing other nonprofits in through volunteer projects. And I crushed that goal of having over 1,000 people in. So this year, we're looking to triple at 3,000, and we're well on our way to making that happen. It's funny talking about impact that I've made since Jesus changed my life. You never realize the seeds that you're planting. I'm one-on-one with these kids in the boxing gym or in life in general. And in the moment, their life doesn't seem like it's changing. Kids who've been around me, they were kids 9 years ago, 8 years ago. If God hadn't put me in their life to plant seeds, their life would be different today. I went from living for myself to kind of living for my kids, still not knowing how to do it right. And then when Jesus entered into my life, everything changed. And all I wanted to do was make an impact, leave a mark on this world, and tell people about the goodness of God.